Hello, and welcome to the second part of Module 2.6, solving solving equations with proportions. Our example for today is to solve a proportion by using a constant rate. So our setup is we are given that parts of Mexico City are sinking at 140 centimeters every 5 years. If this rate remains constant, how many centimeters will the building or will the city sink in the next 12 years? So if we reread and go back and closely look at our scenario, we're given that the city is sinking 140 centimeters every 5 years. That is our rate that we're working with here. If this rate remains constant, we want to know how many centimeters. So that's our question. Will the city sink in the next 12 years? So we're going to go ahead and set up a proportion. And we have our first ratio, 140 centimeters over 5 years. Now, normally you haven't seen me writing units into our work before, but here I want to do that specifically because when we set up these proportions, we want to make sure that our units are matching in each part of the fraction so that we are saying the same things are related. So we know that we want to know how many centimeters will the city sink in the next 12 years. So I'm going to put 12 years in the denominator, and our numerator is x centimeters. So as we can see, both of our fractions, we have centimeters over years, right? This is the relationship that we have established as what we're working with. So now to solve this, we're going to multiply both sides by 12, and 12 times 140 and then divided by 5 is going to give us 336 centimeters is equal to x. Okay. So we just did the multiplication, multiplied both sides, and we found 336 centimeters is our value. So 3.3 meters of sinking over the course of 12 years, that's a significant amount, especially considering Mexico City is a very seismically active region with volcanoes nearby and tectonic activity. So that is certainly a concern in Mexico City. And we have a Central Plaza in Mexico City as our picture there. All right, so now if we're looking at letter B, we've got Deidre's boat is using 5 gallons of gas in 4 hours. At this rate, how many gallons will the boat use in 10 hours? The rate we're given is 5 gallons in 4 hours. And we are trying to find how many gallons will the boat use in 10 hours. So we're going to be able to set up our proportion the same way again. So we have 5 gallons over 4 hours. And we want to set up our second proportion the same way, where we have gallons over hours. So we have 10 hours and we have an unknown number of gallons. So to solve this one, what we're going to do, we multiply both sides of our equation by 10. And I'm going to specifically multiply it by 10 hours. And the reason why is right here, 10 hours and 10 hours cancels out. Hours and hours cancel out. So what units do I have left on my left side? The only unit that I have remaining is gallons. The only unit I have remaining is gallons. So I know I'm on the right track now. And so I do 10 times 5 is 50. 50 divided by 4 is 12.5 gallons is equal to X. Okay. There are two you try problems at the bottom of the page. I want you to go ahead and do those on your own and then come back and check your work against mine. Question C, Oscar makes fruit punch to sell from his food truck by mixing 8 parts cranberry juice to 3 parts pineapple juice. How many cups of pineapple juice would Oscar need to mix with 48 cups of cranberry juice to make his punch? So this is one where we can kind of mix and match a little bit. So our relationship that we have is 8 parts cranberry juice to 3 parts pineapple juice. So I'm going to set up my first fraction, and it's 8 parts cranberry juice over 3 parts pineapple juice. Okay, going back to rereading my question, I know I want to ask how many cups of pineapple juice would I need? And what am I working with? I'm working with 48 cups of cranberry juice. Well, this one I set up a little different. So we've got parts on one side and we've got cups for our other measurement, but we can still work the same. So we know we have 48 cups of cranberry juice, so we do 48 in the new numerator, cups of cranberry juice. And what's in my denominator? My denominator is what we don't know, and it's the pineapple juice. So now what operations do we need to solve this? We need to use cross multiplication. So 8 times x is 8x. 3 times 48 is equal to 144. And then we divide both sides by 8. And we get that x is equal to 18 cups of pineapple juice. So we would need 18 cups of pineapple juice with the 48 cups of cranberry juice that Oscar has. All right. So next up, we have letter D. An 8-ounce can of orange juice contains about 97 milligrams of vitamin C. About how many milligrams of vitamin C are there in a 12-ounce can of orange juice? So my first piece is we have an 8-ounce can contains 97 milligrams of vitamin C. We have a 12-ounce can that we're trying to figure out, and we want to know how many milligrams of vitamin C are in it. So we set up our proportion. The first one, we have 8 ounces over 97 milligrams. And that's going to be equal to, we don't know how many milligrams. And we do know that it's a 12-ounce can. So again, our units are matching up. We've got ounces over milligrams, ounces over milligrams. So for this one, we are going to cross multiply, and we get 8x is equal to 12 times 97 is 1164. And then we divide both sides by 8. And we get that x is equal to 145.5 milligrams. And so we've got 145.5 milligrams of vitamin C in our orange juice can that's larger. All right, we're going to take a look at the next page and we're going to solve a percent problem using a proportion. So we have a guide company and they are making a trail mix of raisins and mixed nuts. Raisins are 30% of the mix, and we want to know how many pounds of raisins should the company mix with 14 pounds of mixed nuts. So what information do we have here to start with? Well, first thing I have, we've got raisins are 30% of the mix. I know I have 14 pounds of mixed nuts, and I want to know how many pounds of raisins should the company mix. So how do we set this one up? Well, if I have 30% raisins, what do I know the other 70% is? Well, the other 70% must be mixed nuts. Okay. So if we set this equal, then I need to have raisins in my numerator. Do I know the amount of raisins? No, I don't. So that's X pounds of raisins over 14 pounds of mixed nuts. Okay. And so now, what do we need to do to solve this problem? X is in the numerator, so all I have to do is multiply by 14. And we do 14 times 30 divided by 70, and I get 6 pounds of raisins is equal to X. So 6 pounds of raisins is my volume that I'm going to need. So this is going to make 20 pounds of trail mix. 30% of it is raisins, 70% of it is mixed nuts. All right, let's look at letter B. During the regular season, each NBA team, each National Basketball League team, plays 82 games. During the 1995-1996 season, the Chicago Bulls had a winning percentage of about 87.8%. How many games did the Chicago Bulls win in the 95-96 regular season? So, information that we need to know. Teams play 82 games in the regular season. The Chicago Bulls had an 87.8% winning percentage. We want to know, how many games did the Bulls win in 95-96? Now, some of you who are Bulls fans may know this fact already, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the math on it and figure it out. So I don't know how many games the Bulls won. So I'm going to start with that. I don't know how many wins we have, but I do know that they played 82 games. Right? We don't know how many wins, but we do know they played 82 games. Their winning percentage was 87.8%. And they played all of their games, so the denominator would be 100%. Right? 100% of their games. They won 87.8% of the games. So this percent proportion, what do we need to do to solve it? We're going to multiply both sides of our equation by 82. We're multiplying our number of games by our winning percentage, and we get X is equal to 82 times 87.8 divided by 100 is going to get us a decimal, and it's going to round to 72 games, right? Our decimal would have been 71.996. So we round that to 72 games. The original decimal is 71.996. Now, this 95-96 Bulls, this is the first full season of Michael Jordan returning to the Chicago Bulls after his retirement and his year and a half playing baseball for the Birmingham Barons, a minor league affiliate of the Chicago White Sox. He also played a game for the White Sox, and they came back and they win the championship. And that was the headline of the Daily Herald here in Illinois. They were the Unforgettables because that was their fourth title in 6 years, on their way to repeating a three-peat and having 6 championships in 8 years, by far the greatest dynasty in basketball history. And there are no debates on that. All right, letter C is a you try problem that I'd like you to do on your own. We have LaRonda wants to make fresh lemonade. The recipe she finds online recommends that 20% of the total volume should be lemon juice. If she has 18 ounces of lemon juice, how much water should she mix with the juice to make lemonade? Set up your proportions and solve this problem on your own, and then come back and check it against my work. All right, so LaRonda's recipe is 20% of the total volume should be lemon juice. She has 18 ounces of lemon juice. We want to know, how much water should she mix? So let's set up the proportion of what we know. We know that 20% of the total is lemon juice. And we know that we have 18 ounces of lemon juice. We want to know how much water. So we don't know how much water. So then what do we put as our denominator? Do I put it out of the 100% total that my volume is? No. What I should do is I should figure out how much of the mix is water. Well, if 20% is lemon juice, that means 80% is water. And now to solve this, we need to cross multiply. 20 times x is 20x. 80 times 18 is 1440. And then we are going to divide both sides by 20. We've got 72 ounces of water. All right. That is the end of our notes for today. If you have any questions, please bring them to class. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.